Alright, welcome back to Six Gun Guitars. This is the electric bass series. I've got my two wings cut out here. I've got the neck out of the clamps. And it's been clamping up for about 4 hours. 3 or 4 hours. So it's fine to take it out. There's still a little glue that looks wet on the sides, but that's just because it's pooled up there. So that should still be okay. Veneer is in place. Looks pretty good. There's one or two little spots where there's some glue on the top. It might even have been a little pressed through, but I'll go ahead and get that out of there. So there she is. Neck's basically done. You can almost feels like you could play it. Now, after kind of lining everything up and looking at it, I decided that I am going to do the routing on my wings first. And the reason that I'm going to do that is because it's going to be difficult for me to get in and file this stuff down when I'm doing my carving afterwards. So I'd rather just route it first, get it completely done. And I don't have to worry too about I've got the fretboard in the way and everything. I may not actually be able to get the router with the plate on it. I may not actually be able to get it in there really well. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it on the table, and I'll carve everything else around it. I'm going to take you down to the router table now. I've got my router table. It's a small one. It's a Ryobi. Not the most glorious router table in the world. But the nice thing about a router table is it takes your hands, you get to actually use both your hands on what you're doing. You know, the bit and the table and everything stays by itself, and you don't have to worry about getting in the way of clamps and all that other kind of stuff. You just go ahead and run right there. The bit that I'm using is a 3/8 inch roundover, and unfortunately I don't have an insert plate that can fit into my machine that'll let that bit ride in there. So this is a little bit more dangerous than doing it with an insert plate. Having that little insert in there, kind of gives you a visual indicator of where the bit is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it through nice and easy and slow, and I'm going to keep my hands the hell out of the way. Because a router is a very, very powerful machine, and if it gets a hold of you, it's just going to suck you in and eat you alive. So I'm also going to run this thing through, like I said, nice and slowly. And the reason I'm going to run it nice and slowly is I don't want to take the chance of something nice flying out of here, getting a big piece of chip out. Especially coming in around the curves and stuff like that. You catch the wrong piece of grain, huge chunk flies out and the whole top is completely useless at that point. And also at that point you'll see a heart attack live on YouTube. So I'm going to run it nice and slow, take it down to the router table and let you see that. Like I said, definitely use your router table the way that it's intended to. Like I said, I don't have a little insert right now. I'm going to be very, very careful as I'm doing this, and I want to make sure that we can get through okay and with all of our fingers. Alright, so you got the router table all set. I got my bit set to the right depth. I already tested it out on a couple of smaller pieces. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and fire it up and go nice and slow, and hopefully we get a nice cut out of it. And actually, you know what, before I do that, I almost forgot. I'm going to grab a set of safety glasses, which actually can't find right now, so I'll go ahead and grab the face shield. Not going to be able to hear me talk anyway with the router going, so here we are. Now the reason I stopped here is I just want to kind of check on my cut. I'm getting a little burning, so I'm going to go a little bit quicker here. Kind of get through that, but it's putting a nice little round over on there, which is exactly what I want. I'm going to do that on both sides. And we'll just kind of keep going with the router table here. I'm just going to move it a shade quicker. Alright, Made it through it. I've got a couple of burns and a couple of small spots here, but I can go ahead and sand those out. That's not a big problem. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and flip it over, do the rest of these pieces, and then we should be ready to glue it together. Alright, so the routing's done. That's what it looks like. Nice little 3/8 inch round over. All the way around, and like I said, I got some burning on here, but that's not a problem. We'll sand all that out. None of it looks very deep, so that'll be nice and easy. There's one wing, the little wing. There's the other one. So have a nice big fat side to it, all nice and rounded over. And now we're going to go on to gluing these two guys on here. And again, I'm going to butt them up really nice. I'm going to try to make sure that everything is as straight and as flat as it can be across the front and the back. Make sure they're hitting the right frets. I'm going to be hitting 18 and about 21 on here, so getting to 24 might be a little difficult, but it's not going to be terrible. And we'll go ahead and get this glued together here. All I'm going to do is flip them up, put some glue in both sides again like I always do, line them up really good, and just start chucking some big clamps on here. And then flip it over to check and make sure it's good. I might throw a couple on the ends just to kind of squeeze all three of the pieces together really nice. But actually I'll have to put a couple on the ends to make sure they squeeze together nice. But other than that, you know, just pretty much get in and glue it and let it sit for a while, and I should be able to start carving this guy out.